You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it.
Jacksonville, Saxonville, Jaguars. What do you think? Yeah.
First and foremost, the prince that was promised, the golden luck boy, Trevor Lawrence. It was good last year until he got a lingering injury, then stayed on the field and maybe lost some respect. I think he's still very, very good. What do you think?
I think he's still really good. I see a little bit of Justin Herbert in him in the aspect.
You love Justin Herbert.
He's too. I mean, I criticize him still. I like Justin Herbert, but I am willing to see the good and the bad in a player. And
yeah.
T-Law has a little bit of Herbert in him where he's a bit too robotic, a bit too, this is what I'm supposed to do, so this is what I'm doing, and not enough, screw it, I'm just doing this because I have to.
Is this year 2 or 3 of Doug Pederson?
3.
Year 3 of Doug Pederson. I expect this Jaguars team to be very, very competitive.
Well, and you know what? What really limited Lawrence that I've noticed? They loved their under center play action and under center run offense. And when you have an ankle injury like Lawrence had, you can't really boot out off under center play action.
Especially when you're 6'6".
Yeah, a lot more becomes out of shotgun. You become a lot more limited in what you can do. And he couldn't get out in space on those bootlegs, and that's where they were killing people early in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. But okay, outside of Lawrence, they lost Calvin Ridley, who was better than his numbers last year, but he just never really found a rhythm in this offense.
Did you watch those videos I sent you yesterday?
No, I haven't had a chance, man.
Dude, he torches in the red zone. He just torches a corner on a slant route for a touchdown. The very next play, he torches a different corner on another slant route for the 2-point conversion. It was just like, this dude can run routes. Like, It was like, this dude is still good. Like, his numbers didn't show it, but he is still really good.
But they bring in Gabe Davis. Christian Kirk has been really good for him ever since they brought him in. I do love Brian Thomas Jr. I know people have their reservations about him, saying he doesn't have a full route tree. I think he's going to be big time in this offense with Trevor Lawrence, especially a fully healthy Trevor Lawrence. I expect Brian Thomas to have, I wouldn't be surprised if he has the best numbers out of all the rookies in this class. Not necessarily the best wide receiver in the class, career-wise, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's the best rookie.
Here's my thing with
I think he has the best opportunity.
Here's my thing with him and Gabe Davis is there's a real chance those are two guys who are just running go routes all day, and then you only have one route runner on the field.
Yes, but Christian Kirk's a very good route runner.
He is, but like if you're two outside guys are just running go routes all the time, like Brian Thomas might be able to do more than that.
I was about to say, I think that's a little disrespectful to like. I feel like he's getting a little bit of the DK Metcalf treatment, but he's a better route runner already than DK Metcalf was coming out. And I'm not saying DK Metcalf is the best route runner, but I mean, when he came into the league, he was much better than expected, and that's kind of how I feel about Brian Thomas. I mean, I feel like he's that LSU offense didn't really.
They didn't ask him they asked him to run goes and curls.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's always tough to judge a receiver in that type of offense that is just like fast paced, almost like a Chip Kelly offense.
There's a chance the Jags want to get back to their under center play action game, and they really are asking their wide receivers to run goes all the time. Like there is, especially with Evan Engram being the receiving threat he is, and Kirk in the slot, there's a chance that's pretty deadly.
Devin Duvernay is absolutely a weapon. It's hard to get him the ball in an offense like this. He's one of those guys, like who was that kid out of West Virginia that went to the Rams, played on the Cowboys all over the place, as one of the best highlight tapes of all time.
Tavon Austin.
Tavon Austin. He's like a Tavon Austin light. You get the ball in his hands, and like you can make some magic happen. You just have to be able to get it in his hands. So I like that. I like that little aspect of them signing him. I think there's a lot of talent in this wide receiver room. You just have to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, and I think Doug Pederson has a history of making stuff just work in a wide receiver room. Like you look at the Philly teams that he had, they were Alshon Jeffrey and like a bunch of guys. Like it didn't really have this elite talent. Yeah, just catching babies out here and Jaguars dropping touchdowns.
So outside of Evan Engram in this tight end room, tell me about Brenton Strange, one of your favorite players last year.
He wasn't one of my favorites. He was a guy who I liked.
Draft sleeper guy.
I thought
he was one of your favorite sleepers, like potential wise. Like,
yeah.
So what did you think about him year one?
I mean, he was no Will Mallory, but
no Will Mallory, that's for sure.
Brenton Strange, move tight end. I thought he had some really nice movement skills and some really unique movement skills for the position that can really bear well in the NFL. He didn't get much of a chance last year, so we'll see if he gets more of one now. It's kind of an odd fit here because if they want to run 11 personnel, you only have one tight end on the field. You have Evan Engram. I'm not sure where Brenton Strange snaps are coming from. Pederson does have a history of liking 12, so maybe he's more in the cards this year. He's Brenton Strange, good effort as a blocker. He was a fine enough blocker at Penn State. The effort was there, which is all I really care about when I'm looking at college tight ends, because none of them know two shits about how to block someone.
Yeah.
As long as they're trying hard, I'm there for it. But yeah, I mean, it's Evan Ingram's room, unless they're running a bunch of 12s.
Looking at this running back room, Tank Bigsby, big name coming out of Auburn last year. It didn't seem like he really took advantage of his opportunities last year. So when Travis Etienne is not on the field, do you think Dearness Johnson can take over that secondary role? Because Travis Etienne's not a Jonathan Taylor like we talked about earlier, where he's gonna
truly. I think
take
it's Tank
most of the
Bigsby's
snaps.
spot. Like, I mean, at least just based on the numbers, 24% of his touches went for a first down. He forced a missed tackle on 22% of his touches. Like, he was shifty. There might be some more room there where he needs to improve his vision a little.
But do you remember that one time Dearness Johnson went off for Cleveland?
I do. I'll never forget it.
Legend.
I had him in my fantasy team, and he never did it again. It was awesome.
So you wanna get to this defense, and then we'll talk records.
One note: the Jags had one of the weirdest draft picks of the year in Keelan Robinson. 4 years at Texas, 796 career rushing yards in those 4 years. I don't think any of those years were over like 300 yards. And they used a 5th round pick on him. I didn't think this guy was going to get drafted. Like, it was just very bizarre.
He was the 3rd running back out of Texas drafted this year?
Yeah, it was just very weird.
Very weird.
On the O-line, this is a pass blocking unit. They really just could not run block very well last year. Like, they got some, like, they opened up some holes for ETN, especially like some outside run stuff, outside zone. But for the most part, these weren't guys who were going to impose their will on a defensive line. These were guys who were brought in to pass protect, and they could do that. They added Mitch Morse at center, which is a big move because he is more of a run blocker. And Brandon Scherf kind of was more of a run blocker in Washington, but he hasn't been so far in Jacksonville. So we'll see if they get if playing next to Morse helps them kind of be more of a bully there on maybe some duo runs or some inside zone. But Anton Harrison, Cam Robinson, Walker Little at tackle, I don't think you're getting mean, fierce run blockers out of any of those guys.
Who's going to be starting at that right tackle position?
Anton Harrison.
Walker Little, what is he coming into year 4 out of Stanford?
Yeah. I mean, if anything, and this is just, you use the 1st round pick on Anton Harrison. He's your starter.
Yeah.
And I mean, Cam Robinson, he's too good in pass pro to toss to the side. Like, you're not just getting rid of him.
Well, you expect Walker Little to hit free agency this year?
He might. He very well might. I mean, it'll be interesting because Cam Robinson needs to stay on the field too. He had some suspensions last year that gave Walker Little a real chance to go get reps.
Is Cam Robinson old?
No.
I must be thinking of somebody else then.
No, he's not much older than Walker Little. He's only a year or 2 older.
Okay, I was thinking he was old. Okay.
And Ezra Cleveland's an interesting one too. They picked him up from Minnesota last year, mid-season, and I mean,
they traded for him, didn't they?
Yeah. I guess he did okay in zone blocking according to the PFF grades, but I mean, I don't know, I've never been very big on him going
they
back
have pretty
to
good,
came out of the draft.
Pretty good depth on this O-line, but not really, not a dominant O-line, but pretty good depth.
Right. Like they can pass protect. They can pass protect. even though they had some trouble with pass protection earlier last year, some of that was Anton Harrison finding his feet. He was a pretty raw prospect coming out of Oklahoma. Some of it was Cam Robinson missing for the first 6 games or whatever it was. But this O-line should be able to protect Trevor Lawrence. Like this year, last year they did have some issues, but this year I think
Trevor Lawrence
should find their groove.
Trevor Lawrence is sneaky mobile too whenever he's healthy.
Oh yeah, his mobility is what saved them in the first half of last year. Because this O-line was struggling to pass protect him early on.
I'm excited to see this team for sure, because Trevor Lawrence is one of the most highly touted prospects in recent history, and we saw the comeback against the Chargers in the playoffs, and we thought that was his ascension. And then what started out last year 8-2, missed the playoffs. Time to nut up or shut up here.
Yeah, I mean it kind of is for them. They need a good year here. The D line, they added Arik Armstead, I think it's pronounced. Very good interior pass rusher, very good defensive line player to add. You'd love to see that, but the interior, they're just missing stuff down here. Roy Robertson Harris is a solid football player, but your number 2 D tackle, I'm not sure I want him there. I love Roy Robertson. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's a number 3. And Gotsis, he flashes some on tape, makes some nice plays, but I think you want better there.
So,
I feel like this D tackle group is going to get a nice boost from Arik Armstead because it's the best guy they've had in a few years. But it's still, I feel like the 2 and 3 are still a little weak. Josh Allen has done some nice stuff with stats. He's
great
put out
the Bills.
some nice tape. Oh yeah, he's the number 1 Josh Allen criminal.
Stopper.
Josh Allen. Josh Allen prime is unreal.
Yeah.
Josh Allen, I did feel like a few of the sacks that I saw from him were a little cheap. I haven't watched every sack. I can't say they all are.
Straight hand sacks.
But a few of them, they were kind of okay, that's a sack, but I don't think that's your sack. Now I do think he's a good pass rusher.
Yeah.
I think his sack numbers were a little inflated last year.
What about Trayvon Walker, former number 1 overall pick? There was a lot of, skepticism about that pick. They couldn't trade out of it. They took the guy they wanted. How is he doing in this development? Because I just rarely hear about him.
So what I do when I turn on the tape a lot of times is I'll turn it on and watch. And every time I notice a guy, I'll have the PFR page for the 2023 Jaguars up while I'm doing it. I'll go find, okay, that was number 41. That was number 96. Who is that?
Yeah.
I didn't do that once for sure. I got through watching 3 games and I was like, wait, I haven't noticed Trayvon Walker once. Where I was he's number 44? I think he was 44. But it was oh, I saw him out there, but I haven't noticed him at all. He just seems like a guy. And it's he needs, the tools are there. They need more from him. Yeah.
It's probably the most underwhelming first overall pick that we've had in quite a while.
Might be.
Trevor on Bryce Young.
And his stats here are they're rough, but they're not awful. It's just you need something more. It's you're number 1 overall. You have all this physical talent. Need something more. And then behind those 2, they don't have much. Chad Muma was listed as an edge here. I was surprised by that because he was a linebacker coming out of college. I didn't even realize he'd switched to edge rusher. Maybe that's something new. Last year on tape, he was playing linebacker.
Yeah.
I guess so, but Muma has athleticism, but that was a surprise. Travis Gibson got cut by the Bears last year. He barely played for Tennessee last season either. When he did play, his stats were good, but he barely got on the field, so I don't know what to think of that. The starting duo has potential. Josh Allen is good. Josh Allen plus Arik Armstead should be able to generate pressure, but the depth here is severely
somebody else has got to
lacking,
step
in my
up.
opinion.
Yeah,
but not severely. Severely is an overstatement, but the depth is lacking. At linebacker, I think Oluokun flashed all over the tape. I really liked what I saw from him. Devin Lloyd,
tackling machine.
Didn't really notice Lloyd that much, but his run defense is about as good as it gets according to the stats, so I'm just gonna have to trust that.
All right, you want to get into a little bit of DBs and get into our bets here?
Yeah, so Tyson Campbell, he seemed prime for a breakout season last year at cornerback, and then he fought through a bunch of injuries, and it just didn't happen. I'm wondering if this year we might see a big breakout from Tyson Campbell. At the very least, I think we see him just not get targeted, because when your other guy, like Darby, put up some nice numbers last year, but when your other corners are Ronald Darby, Monteric Brown, Gregory Jr., and Jarian Jones, like I don't see a point in throwing the football at Tyson Campbell, because I know Tyson Campbell's good. You know, like, and I don't know that these other guys are good, except for maybe Darby if he continues what he showed last year. But Darby's a guy who's just been around the league and done some stuff. This is really the black eye on this roster to me. This cornerback room at safety.
Didn't Darby win a Super Bowl?
Sounds right.
In Tampa Bay?
You could convince me.
Yeah, I think he was on that Tampa team.
In the safety room, I actually kind of like what they got with Andre Sisco and Andrew Wingard. And Antonio Johnson did some nice stuff in his limited snaps last year. They added Darnell Savage, who actually had a nice bounce back year last year too. I do like this safety room. I think there is something here. I don't think there's like top end talent, but I think Sisco's a ball hawk who can get his hands on the football. I think these other guys are all serviceable.
All right, so looking at this overall wins-loss, 8.5. Their winning the division is plus 270, so not as good of odds as the Colts. They're plus 120 on the playoffs, 21-1 on AFC Championship, 45-1 on Super Bowl. And I kind of have the same thoughts about this team as I have the Colts. I mean, I like the division at plus 270.
I don't even think I like that.
I mean, if I'm forced to pick something,
yeah,
I like that over playoffs, because we already said we think 3 teams are getting in the AFC North. That means 2 teams can't get in from the AFC.
Yeah,
AFC
you're
South.
right. That's a good point.
So,
well, no, 2 teams can.
Oh yeah, with the new format. But still, I mean,
it gets tight
when you look at the
we got the Chargers vying for a spot too.
Yeah, and I like the Raiders.
You got the Bills and the Dolphins as well.
You like the Bills and the Dolphins, yeah. So it's like,
I don't know. If you're betting, you gotta go division, I think, because that's where the return.
Yeah, because I don't know if they can make the playoffs without winning the division. I think this is going to be the toughest division. We're both really, really high on the Texans, and we've said it multiple times already. It's like you got to win probably 10 games to be in contention for the playoffs, and I like the over, but at minus 115, I don't love the over. Just based on odds, I would probably take winning the division, but I mean, I don't love any of these bets.
I hated their draft.
I like Brian Thomas,
I liked Brian Thomas enough. I thought the value there was good. I liked Mason Smith a lot. I just thought 48 was a reach, and after that, it just felt like reach.
Getting a kicker at 212 wins them the draft.
Yeah, I guess so. If you say so.
Miles Cole, I mean, he sounds like an all-pro right now at 236.
That's Texas Tech Red Raider.
That's what I'm saying. It sounds like an all-pro already.
The fact that you didn't even know that says everything you need to know.
I know. I thought I recognized the name, but I thought I recognized it from something else. It didn't even register to me, but I was like, I know that name.
Let's get to some of these games.
All right, week 1 at Miami. You're not winning at Miami week 1. It's probably the hardest week 1 game there is to play at Miami. Give me the Dolphins there. Week 2, Cleveland coming off a loss to Dallas. I think they lose again. Give me the Jaguars. You're also taking the Jaguars there. Week 3 to the Bills. This is tough, man. I just want to see this Bills team play, because I don't know what to think about this Bills team. I don't like them at all. But it's also Josh Allen.
Thinks they're just gonna do that thing that teams do sometimes, and just
I'm taking the Jaguars here because Josh Allen always beats Josh Allen. And then we both like the Texans week 4. We both like the Jaguars against Indy week 5. Chicago. I think this is one Chicago loses at home. Not at home. International game. Home game for the Jaguars. Back-to-back international games.
The Bears are the home team.
That's what, I saw Bears at home, and then I saw international. But I was going to take the Jaguars either way. That right there. Yeah, give me the Jags. Back-to-back home games across the pond. Packers. I'll take the Packers in this game.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Eagles, Sunday Night Football. That's tough. I got to give that to Philly. At home in Philly. I feel like they're just going to win on some bullshit because that's what they do. Vikings week 10.
actually, fixes in.
Yeah. Vikings week 10. I'll take the Jacksonville Jaguars in that game. I'm not big on this Minnesota team at all.
Me neither. I'm with you there.
Then the next week at Detroit, give me the Lions. I think the Lions will be a wagon. That wide receiver room is going to be way too much for that Jaguars team.
I think the cornerbacks are going to tie him up, and I think they got the beef up front to shut down the run. Yeah, I think Lions.
Yeah, we both like the Jaguars week 13. Versus the Texans. Tennessee, give me Jags again. I'm not big on this Tennessee team at all, especially like I said, losing Mike Vrabel. Jets going down. I like the Jets.
In Jacksonville in December, I'm going Jags.
That just seems like an Aaron Rodgers game to me. He loves playing in that warm weather. I'll take the Jets.
I thought Aaron Rodgers has struggled down there.
He struggles. He struggles against warm weather teams at home. Like, he always lost to the 49ers at home, but every time he went to San Fran.
I have this like distinct memory in my mind of him really frustrated in Jacksonville. Like, because he just like was getting destroyed out there.
Yeah, but you got the Raiders week 16. I got the Jags. Titans. I'll give this one to the Titans. They got to win some games. And then we both have the Colts winning week 18 or week 19, I guess.
All right, so we both got them at 9-8.
Yeah, I think that's about right for them.
That is a tough spot for Jacksonville because Doug Peterson's out then pretty much, right?
Yeah, because I mean that we've talked about it. I don't know if that makes the playoffs for them, but it could win the division.
I think this
could win the division.
Stacked,
Yeah, because I mean we don't really know how this Texans team's going to be. We don't know how this Colts team's going to be. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if all three teams are between like 8-9 and 10-8. Shout out Ron Swanson, where he takes a picture of Big Ben and he's like, "Oh look, a clock. We don't have that in America."